Hello and welcome to another Tea Time with me, Amanda Prochaska. We are in the park in Las Vegas talking about the 5 most common watch-outs, gotchas, however you want to say it, with a Coupa implementation. So these are the 5 things that we see most often that will prevent people from getting the full ROI of the Coupa implementation. And probably not surprising to any of you watching, it rarely has to do with the technology itself. So let's go ahead and dive in and learn about these 5 different watch-outs. All right here, I'm just hoping that the sprinkler doesn't turn on and get me. So if I get up really quickly and move, it's because the sprinkler's turned on. But I'm out here in Las Vegas enjoying the beautiful weather today. We rarely get days like this in the middle of the summer where we can enjoy the outside. So bringing this to you today. So 5 most common pitfalls, watch-outs to a Coupa implementation that is preventing people from getting the ROI. Okay, again, not to do with the technology. It has everything to do with the things around it. So the first one is, okay, most of the time in a Coupa implementation, one of the big value drivers is savings, right? Savings, automation, those are usually the top ones. Well, how do you get savings and how do you get automation in a Coupa implementation? It's through loading your pricing in Coupa. Okay, so whether that's a punch-out catalog, whether that is a catalog that you manage internally, or a catalog that is managed by a supplier, once you get your pricing in the system, it will allow for a more automated requisition to PO process. Because usually, when you have pricing, you will bypass the buyer step. So it will go straight from requisition to approval, then to purchase order, okay, without any other intervention. So that's how you get the quote-unquote automation. But that's also how you get your savings, because now you know that when people are buying something, they're buying from your contract. So having more and more pricing loaded into Coupa is going to get you better opportunity to hit those savings targets and the ROI that you're expecting from that Coupa implementation. However, what we see often is that when Coupa is implemented, or really any of the other source or pay products and solutions, sometimes there's not even a procurement organization. So who's going to be gathering that pricing to load it into the system? That is a key question. And if you don't have that understood, that's something that I would highly encourage you to do. So you'll need to get the pricing set, collected if you have contracts today, but maybe they're not gathered in such a way where you can leverage them or understand the pricing. I would get after that, because that is key to really unlocking the true benefit of Coupa. So that's number 1. Number 2, and I hear this often, hey, I thought we were going to be able to reduce some of our AP headcount. And that was one of the items in our business case. So when I hear that, I'm like, okay, well, how much do you have on electronic invoicing? And usually the answer is, well, we've really struggled to get our suppliers enabled so that we could be successful doing that. So number 2 is all around supplier enablement. So if you want to get, again, top ROI for your Coupa implementation, and again, I'm mentioning Coupa because that's what a lot of what we do, but this will probably ring true for most of your solutions out there in the ProcureTech source or pay space. To get your e-invoicing numbers up, you will need to get your suppliers to invoice through the channels that you're wanting. So if it's a high volume, high transaction supplier, maybe CXML is the way to go. If you are looking at a bunch of other suppliers that are maybe lower in transaction volume, do they go through the CSP or the SAN process? It's a supplier actionable notification, basically using their email to flip a purchase order into an invoice. Supplier portal, the CSP is always an option too, but the suppliers need to start using those platforms. Now, Coupa in particular has a couple of partners like Relish. Rawsome is another one. I've seen a lot more like Medius implementations where those technologies have a more automated process where a supplier can truly send whatever they want, and it gets converted through AI and other technology so that it's an e-invoice and your team doesn't have to manually enter it. So if you're struggling with supplier enablement, I would say make sure you have the data. A lot of people just frankly struggle with this because they don't know how to contact their suppliers. So that would be a starting point. If you don't have your supplier contact information, or you do and you're still struggling to do the work effort, I would either hire a third party to put the hours in to get this up where you need it to be, or look at one of these other technologies. I will say, even if you're investing incremental in one of these partners, it is going to be worth it, because at the end of the day, the more automated you can get on your invoicing process, the more matches you're going to get, the less interaction you're going to have on the back end. Hopefully you're going to pay your suppliers more timely, maybe reduce some headcount, and have less errors along the way. So really, really worth it. But that is number 2, kind of watch out on your Coupa implementation and ROI. Okay, so number 3 is all about moving to purchase orders. Okay, so one of the big drivers, obviously, of an implementation like this is to get more visibility to your spend. And how do you go about doing that? Now, some AP partners are getting a lot more data on their invoices, so maybe moving everything to purchase orders in the near future is not going to be as important. But if you don't have some of those partners or that capability, if you have a lot just on invoice and you're not getting a lot of visibility to that, you will need to move to a purchase order. And that takes effort, that takes commitment, that takes controls to be able to do. So oftentimes we will see when we walk into a client and they're like, hey, we're not getting the ROI that we were expecting. One of the pitfalls is all around, well, how much do you have on purchase order? Okay. So there are different techniques that you can use in this space. Again, I mentioned process controls. Policies are always good, but unless you enforce them, we see that a lot too. Oh, we have a no PO, no pay policy. And it's like, okay, well, is it really a policy, or is it more of a guideline? If I can quote Pirates of the Caribbean, we often see that it's a guideline and it's not really enforced. Process controls are a really great way to do this, because if an invoice can't get paid without a purchase order, it is a very easy way to get those numbers up. You also have to make sure that the pricing is loaded, as I already mentioned. Sorry, there's a fly bothering me now. You can get that pricing loaded, make the user experience as simple as possible. You can use all of those techniques. Obviously, change management training will go a long way too. But that is watch out. Number 3 is how much do you have on purchase orders, and what are you doing to get that number up? You will get a greater return if you have people using your pricing, which drives savings and automation in the system. So it is a big watch out and something to tackle for sure. Okay, so number 4, this gets people all the time. I implemented Coupa, but I haven't touched it since. We hear that a lot. So if you are actively implementing Coupa or a similar system, please make sure that you have an understanding of what it's going to take to support the system long term. Remember, you have people coming in and out of the organization, moving roles. All of that needs to be maintained. You might acquire or divest companies. You might have new policies that come out, new ways of working, and all of that not only is change to your end users, but needs to be maintained in the system. And ongoing training needs to occur. So, and pricing updates. That's a big one. I talked about pricing earlier, but you need to have a team of people or a resource, depending on how much pricing you have, to make sure that your pricing is constantly maintained as sourcing is negotiating new contracts or revised pricing. All of that requires support, and a lot of companies, what happens is they get through the implementation and they're like, well, we're done. And it's good and it doesn't need to be maintained. But what will happen is you'll have a reduced ROI over time, and Coupa or any other system, frankly, will get out of date with what you really need. So make sure that you have the support model that you're looking for. Okay, number 5. And this is an interesting one. I don't see it all the time, but when it does happen, it shows up in a big way. So, do you have a lot of infrequent users of these systems? If you have a lot of infrequent users, they are going to be the ones that log in once every 6 months, once every year, and they need to just purchase one thing. Most of the time, those people are very difficult to get onboarded into the systems. And again, this is not a Coupa necessarily thing. It could be any source or pay system. But since they're infrequently using it, you almost have to retrain them every single time to use the system. Now, there are new technologies out there like your intake tools, orchestration tools. Heck, we even have buy desks that work with those folks. The sprinklers just turned on. Just worked with those people to do their purchases on their behalf. So if you have a large infrequent user base, I would be considering using Coupa's intake, some other intake tool, thinking through a buy desk strategy, so that those people can feel supported to use the process effectively. Okay, so that was item number 5. So hopefully those 5 items will help you understand a little bit more of the nuance of what it takes to get to the ROI that can be achieved with a Coupa implementation. I see it all the time. But the people that achieve the ROI do the 5 things that I just noted very, very effectively. So with that said, I am Amanda Prochaska. I am the founder of Wonder Services, and I love bringing this content to you. I lived through some of this the hard way. I don't need you to also. So if you are going through a Coupa implementation, have it implemented, and you need more insights, please drop me a line. Would be more than happy to help. But until then, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and I will be back with some more tea times here shortly. Thank you. Have a great day, and cheers.